we are at the moment, of course, listening to people who have worked with Dr. Manmohan Singh and sharing their memories and what they think are his legacies. Joining us now is Dr. Arvind Panagariya, the chairman of the 16th Finance Commission, and of course, a renowned trade economist. Dr. Panagariya, thank you very much indeed for taking our call and agreeing to speak. What would you say, sir, is the big legacy that Dr. Manmohan Singh leaves behind?
Well, for an economist, really, his legacy is what he did as the finance minister of India. Then he carried on that work forward also as the prime minister. But really, the big stuff came when he was a finance minister. That was the kind of breaking point where he also, transitioned from being a bureaucrat to becoming a politician. The 1991 reforms were clearly very, very critical. And I know actually from a conversation with him very directly, one-on-one, when I went to see him, just before I demoted my office at the Niti Aayog in 2017. And he told me the full story of how the devaluation, the double devaluation was done. And that was purely between him and Prime Minister Narasimha Rao. Nobody else knew about it when he went to him and said this was required. Everybody else was advising the Prime Minister against devaluation because of, the memories of 1966. I mean, that they had been so deeply kind of entrenched in etched in the minds of the people that they didn't want another devaluation. Even Prime Minister was not very favorable to it, but Dr. Manmohan Singh persuaded him, he prevailed. Prime Minister actually wanted to take it to the cabinet, and Dr. Manmohan Singh said, meaning, Prime Minister Rao wanted to take it to the cabinet before making the announcement of the devaluation, and Dr. Manmohan Singh dissuaded him. He said that, if you would take it to the cabinet, then the devaluation shall not happen, because Dr. Manmohan Singh rightly knew that, the cabinet would never go along with it. So, that was something of both the hallmark of a great economist and of a great diplomat. I think he read the tea leaves correctly. And finally, the devaluation happened, the first one. And the second one, we all know that story is very public, that Prime Minister Rao asked him to call off, but it was too late by then. The announcement had been made by the RBI.
Yeah, I remember that, sir. Dr. Rangarajan was with us for the 30th anniversary of the 1991 reforms in 2021. And he narrated this story that the first devaluation had gone through, but the second day, it happened in two stages, as you know, July 1st and 4th, if I'm not mistaken. And yes, on the 4th, Dr. Singh called him and said, I think he always called him Professor. Professor, can you hold on? He said, no, sir, it is done. So the second devaluation, apparently, there was a call from Dr. Singh. But anyway, they were hand in glove and they created the FX market, as it were, created the government securities market because the ad hoc treasury stopped. Any other personal memories or qualities that you want to leave us with, Dr. Panagariya?
Well, he was a very simple person. I think, this is well known about him. Everybody says that, and I can speak to that as well. I visited him twice when I was at Niti Aayog at his house. He was not in the greatest health, particularly at the 2017 visit. He said that, I have diabetes and I get tired. But nevertheless, he was known for not talking. But actually, when we sat one-on-one, he did a lot of talking in spite of his physical limitations because of diabetes. And came to see me out. Very, very humble, obviously, always. So I also met him at conferences at the India Policy Forum we used to organize. He also came to a launch of the book by Rakesh Mohan on 1991 reforms. There we also had a long chat. And, he always, even if you knew that he was so humble in his demeanor, it always impressed you. that how
So that's a
accomplished
very
he is.
nice angle you're telling us, that he was actually quite talkative in a conversation, but
Quite
was
amazing.
quiet, of course.
Yes,
That's
yes,
a very
yes.
nice aspect of him that we did not know of. Did you meet him during the Lehman crisis, and was there any takeaway in terms of how to tackle it? I mean, as an economist, perhaps he could even have seen some trouble coming, even if not the magnitude of the trouble. Any thoughts on that, or during those troubled years from
Yeah.
2008 to 2013?
Right. So no, unfortunately, that is not the time. Certainly not the Lehman crisis time.
Yeah.
I was in the US at the time, but I do remember, coming while he was prime minister twice. We met. This was, I think, both occasions. It was for the India Policy Forum, and each time I remember talking to him about the labor law reform. One time I also went to his office when he was the prime minister, and I made a big pitch to him about higher education reform. And he then spoke that, we have the Knowledge Commission looking into this, and hopefully they will give us a report, and we'll see where we go with it. Those are my conversations, really, but not during the Lehman crisis.
Okay,
right.
sir. Thank you very much for sharing your personal moments with him and telling us things about which we would have never known. His interpersonal relations and how he came out as as a person in those relationships. Thank you very much, Dr. Panagariya, for joining us. We do hope we can have a more meaty conversation with you on the Finance Commission report as and when it is presented. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you, Latha.
Okay.